Hello, wonderful people. I hope you guys are all doing well. Before we start, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel if you like these kinds of videos. Also, let us know where you guys are listening from. Okay then, let's begin. Batman's first appearance in Gotham was a momentous event. A masked figure, clad in dark, imposing armor, who appeared out of nowhere and quickly became a symbol of fear for the city's criminals. However, what if Batman's first appearance wasn't as spontaneous as it seemed? What if his emergence was, in fact, orchestrated by the very people who were meant to be Gotham's elite? The idea of Batman as a setup by Gotham's elite raises intriguing questions about the true origins of the Dark Knight and the power dynamics at play in Gotham City. Was Batman's rise to prominence simply a case of a vigilante taking matters into his own hands? Or was it the result of a carefully planned scheme by Gotham's influential figures? Could it be that Batman was, in fact, a pawn in a larger game, one that involved the city's elite seeking to maintain control and manipulate the streets of Gotham for their own benefit? Let's take a deep dive into this theory and explore the possibility that Batman's first appearance may have been orchestrated by the very people who stood to benefit from his existence. Gotham City's elite and the need for control. Gotham City has always been a place of corruption, power struggles, and moral ambiguity. The city's elite, wealthy families, business magnates, and influential figures have long held a tight grip on the city's resources and institutions. However, despite their wealth and influence, Gotham's elite have struggled with one persistent issue: the lack of control over the criminal underworld. The corruption and violence in Gotham have always been a threat to the stability of the elite's power, and as Gotham's crime rate skyrocketed, the city's wealthy and powerful began to realize that something drastic needed to be done. This is where the theory of Batman's first appearance as a setup by Gotham's elite comes into play. What if the emergence of the Dark Knight was not a spontaneous event driven by an individual's sense of justice, but rather a calculated move by Gotham's elite to create a symbol of control? Gotham's elite were facing mounting pressure from the rise of criminals, corrupt politicians, and underworld figures who threatened their grip on power. In a city where law enforcement was either ineffective or corrupt, the elite needed a solution that would simultaneously restore order and serve their interests. By creating the figure of Batman, the elite could not only eliminate some of the city's more troublesome criminals, but also create a scapegoat for the city's chaotic state. Batman would be both a force of order and a symbol that could be controlled, manipulated, and even used to distract the public from the deeper issues at play in Gotham. The criminal element could be targeted, but the elite's interests would remain secure. Batman could be the perfect distraction, a figure who could restore a sense of justice while still allowing Gotham's elite to retain their power behind the scenes. The creation of the Batman myth, a controlled response to crime. One of the most intriguing aspects of Batman's first appearance is the immediate and dramatic impact it had on Gotham's criminal element. It's almost as though his arrival was designed to strike fear into the hearts of criminals and reassert control over the city. But why would Gotham's elite want to instigate such a thing? The creation of a fearsome vigilante who would patrol the streets and eliminate criminals might seem like a good thing for the citizens of Gotham. But when examined more closely, it also served the interests of the powerful figures who wanted to maintain control. Batman's early actions, such as targeting organized crime families and corrupt officials, seemed to directly benefit Gotham's elite. These were the same individuals who stood to gain from the downfall of the city's criminal empires. By positioning Batman as a symbol of fear, Gotham's elite could covertly wipe out the more problematic factions of the underworld while remaining above suspicion. This type of manipulation allowed Gotham's upper class to control the criminal landscape without directly intervening. Instead, they used Batman as a tool to clean up the city and reassert their dominance, all while keeping their own hands clean. The idea of Batman as a tool for control becomes even more convincing when considering the way certain influential figures in Gotham seem to either encourage or allow his rise. Gotham's police, law enforcement, and political figures, for example, were often portrayed as being either unable or unwilling to stop Batman's vigilante crusade. Was this simply a case of incompetence? Or was there a deeper plan at play? Perhaps Gotham's elite recognized that they could benefit from allowing Batman to continue his crusade, all while secretly manipulating the situation to ensure their own interests were protected. The Wayne legacy. Bruce Wayne as a pawn in the game? Bruce Wayne, the man behind the Batman persona, also plays a significant role in the theory that Batman's first appearance was a setup. As the heir to the Wayne family fortune, Bruce Wayne is part of Gotham's elite. But was his emergence as Batman truly an act of personal vengeance, or was he manipulated into playing a larger role in the elite's plan? The Wayne family, much like the other powerful families in Gotham, has its own history of influence and control over the city. Could it be that Bruce Wayne's decision to become Batman was not entirely his own? Perhaps certain members of Gotham's elite had a hand in shaping his path, encouraging him to become the figurehead of the city's crusade against crime, while making sure he remained focused on certain targets and issues that benefited their agenda. The Wayne family's wealth, combined with the social influence of Gotham's elite, could have provided the perfect platform for Bruce to emerge as the Dark Knight. Bruce's own trauma, the murder of his parents, served as the catalyst for his transformation into Batman. However, it's possible that Gotham's elite saw his personal tragedy as an opportunity to further their own ends. By guiding Bruce toward becoming Batman, they could have used his desire for justice as a tool to further their control over the city. In this scenario, Bruce Wayne may have been manipulated into becoming a pawn in a larger game, with the elites positioning him as the symbol of Gotham's fight against crime while keeping their own interests protected. A controlled threat. Batman as a necessary evil. The idea that Batman's first appearance was a setup by Gotham's elite can also be seen in the way the criminal underworld responds to him, rather than uniting against him. As one might expect from a city plagued by crime, Gotham's criminals seem to accept Batman as a force that is ultimately beneficial to their cause. The very nature of Batman's presence, his ability to clean up the streets while leaving certain areas untouched, suggests that he was not an uncontrollable force, but a necessary evil that served the interests of the city's elite. This concept of Batman as a controlled threat would also explain the occasional collaboration between Batman and figures like Commissioner Gordon, who, while working to uphold the law, also recognizes that Batman is an indispensable tool in the fight against crime. Batman is often depicted as operating outside the law, but still within certain boundaries, never truly disrupting the city's power structures. The fact that Gotham's elite seem willing to tolerate his existence and even manipulate his actions suggests that Batman's role is not just to fight crime but to maintain the status quo. The ultimate question: did Gotham's elite create Batman to maintain their power? In the end, the question remains, was Batman's first appearance actually a setup by Gotham's elite? The possibility that Batman's rise to prominence was orchestrated by Gotham's influential figures is certainly compelling. Gotham's elite, facing increasing threats from crime and corruption, could have seen the creation of a masked vigilante as the perfect solution to restore control over their city. Batman, acting as both a symbol of justice and a tool for control, served their interests by eliminating threats without directly involving them in the process. Whether or not Batman was consciously manipulated by Gotham's elite, his rise to power undoubtedly benefited the city's upper class. By using Batman as a tool to clean up the streets and strike fear into the hearts of criminals, Gotham's elite could maintain their control over the city's resources, all while preserving their own power and influence. In this light, Batman's role in Gotham is not just about fighting crime. It's about maintaining the social and political order that serves the interests of Gotham's elite. As we continue to unpack the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite, the implications of this idea deepen. Gotham City, with its intricate web of power and corruption, provides the perfect environment for such manipulation. The more we consider Batman's emergence, the clearer it becomes that his role in the city's power dynamics is far more complex than simply being a lone vigilante. Instead, Batman may have been created, intentionally or unintentionally, to serve a much larger agenda, one that keeps the city's elite in control while allowing them to maintain the illusion of justice and order. Gotham City's elite and the power of public perception. One of the most powerful tools that Gotham's elite have at their disposal is the power of public perception. In a city as chaotic and corrupt as Gotham, the public's trust in the system is fragile at best. Law enforcement is corrupt. Political figures are deeply entrenched in criminal activity, and crime runs rampant. The elites, while they hold the reins of power, also understand that they must manage the city's image to maintain control. This is where Batman's role becomes crucial. The public perception of Batman is that of a hero, someone who is above the law, operating outside the corrupt structures of Gotham's government and criminal underworld. He represents an ideal of justice that the police force and the judicial system fail to deliver. By introducing a figure like Batman, Gotham's elite provide the people with a sense of security without actually addressing the systemic issues that perpetuate crime and corruption. Batman becomes the perfect scapegoat, a figure who can take down criminals, provide the appearance of law and order, and keep the public distracted from the fact that the true sources of power in Gotham are still operating behind the scenes. In this context, Batman is not just fighting crime, he is also reinforcing the power structures that allow Gotham's elite to thrive. His very existence keeps the people's focus on a singular external enemy, the criminals, while the underlying causes of Gotham's problems are left untouched. Gotham's elite can continue their activities unimpeded because Batman is doing their dirty work, cleansing the streets of those who might otherwise challenge their power. The role of the bat signal, a symbol of controlled justice. Another key aspect of the theory that Batman's first appearance was a setup lies in the symbolism of the bat signal. The bat signal, used by Gotham City Police to summon Batman, serves as a public representation of Batman's partnership with the city's authorities. However, what's often overlooked is how controlled this partnership might be. Batman's iconic signal, which shines into the night sky, serves as a powerful symbol of justice, but it also represents the way the city's elite can control and manipulate the image of Batman. The bat signal is a beacon not just for Batman, but also for the power that controls him. It signals that the Dark Knight is on the job, but it also signals that he is working within a system that can direct his actions. Batman, in many cases, is summoned when it suits the needs of Gotham's elite. When they need a figure to deal with certain threats, they can call upon Batman as a tool to restore order. The use of the bat signal becomes a metaphor for how the city's elite, while allowing Batman to operate freely, have found a way to direct and control his actions without overtly revealing their hand. The bat signal's importance in this context becomes even more apparent when considering Batman's most well-known appearances. When criminals begin to disrupt the status quo or threaten the city's powerful figures, Batman is often the one to step in, while the city's leaders maintain their positions of authority in the shadows. Gotham's elite are able to control Batman's role in the city by using the bat signal to manage public perception, providing the people with a symbol of justice while preserving their own position of power. Bruce Wayne SIP's involvement in Gotham SIP's elite game. Bruce Wayne's involvement in Gotham's elite also plays a significant role in the theory that Batman's first appearance was part of a larger agenda. As the heir to Wayne Enterprises, Bruce Wayne has access to the city's financial and political circles, putting him in a unique position to influence events from behind the scenes. What if Bruce's decision to become Batman wasn't purely driven by a desire for personal vengeance, but was instead a response to a larger power struggle in the city? In this narrative, Bruce's tragic backstory, the murder of his parents, becomes the perfect setup for his emergence as the masked vigilante. It is a personal story that resonates with the public, making him a sympathetic figure in the eyes of Gotham's citizens. Yet, what if the elites saw this personal tragedy as an opportunity to have someone with both financial and political resources act as a covert enforcer? Gotham's elite could have seen Bruce's pain and thirst for justice as a means to an end, someone who could take the moral high ground while fighting Gotham's criminals on their behalf. By allowing Bruce Wayne to become Batman, the elite ensure that they have a powerful ally in their fight to maintain control over the city. Bruce's vast wealth, combined with his connections and resources, make him the perfect candidate to take on the Batman persona, and Gotham's elite could manipulate this role to keep their interests safe. Batman's moral code and his desire to prevent crime from taking root in Gotham can easily align with the elite's goals, so long as Batman focuses his efforts on the criminals who disrupt the flow of power, rather than questioning the institutions that maintain it. The controlled emergence of Batman SIP's enemies. Another telling aspect of the theory that Batman's rise was orchestrated by Gotham's elite is the way his greatest enemies emerge. Gotham's criminals, from the Joker to Two-Face to Bane, are often seen as the natural counterbalance to Batman's vigilantism. However, what if the introduction of these supervillains was also part of the greater strategy by Gotham's elites? The elite in Gotham need chaos, but they need it controlled. The rise of Batman's enemies serves to keep him occupied while the true powers behind Gotham's systems continue their manipulation. Each villain represents a challenge to Batman's moral code and the city's social order, but the reality is that these criminals often serve the interests of the elite in indirect ways. By having Batman combat these figures, the elite can create a narrative of control, keeping the public's focus on the villains while the city's corruption continues to fester in the background. Consider the Joker, whose chaos directly challenges Batman's order. Yet the Joker's unpredictability also serves to expose the cracks in Gotham's system, highlighting the ways in which Batman's efforts are ultimately futile if he does not challenge the institutions of power. Each of Batman's enemies plays a role in maintaining the delicate balance of fear and control that the elite need to retain their influence. The emergence of these enemies is not random, they are part of the larger design, helping to shape Batman's role in the city and solidifying his importance as a tool in Gotham's game of power. Conclusion: Batman as the elite SIP's instrument of control. In conclusion, The theory that Batman's first appearance was a setup by Gotham's elite is not only plausible but offers a deeper understanding of how Gotham's power dynamics have shaped the Dark Knight's mission. Rather than being a lone crusader seeking personal justice, Batman's role in Gotham could have been carefully orchestrated by the city's elite to create a figure who would restore a semblance of order while also keeping the public distracted from the systemic issues that continue to benefit the wealthy. Through the use of Batman, the elites can maintain control over the criminal underworld, keep their own power intact, and use the figure of the Dark Knight as a tool to manipulate public perception. Gotham's criminals, Batman's allies, and even Bruce Wayne himself could all be pawns in a larger game of power. Batman, as much as he embodies justice, is also a product of the elite's machinations, an instrument of control designed to preserve the status quo in Gotham. Batman's first appearance, then, may not have been an accident. It could have been the beginning of a carefully planned strategy to create a hero who, by fighting Gotham's criminals, ultimately reinforced the power structures that he sought to destroy. As we continue to explore the possibility that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite, we delve deeper into how his presence in the city functions as both a tool of control and a reflection of the complexities of power. Batman's rise, rather than being a spontaneous act of heroism, might be a well-calculated response to the city's internal power struggles, designed not only to fight crime but also to preserve the status quo that benefits Gotham's ruling class. The public image of Batman, a tool for distraction. One of the key ways in which Batman serves the interests of Gotham's elite is through the carefully crafted public image of the Dark Knight. Batman is not just a vigilante. He is a symbol, one that is designed to distract and manipulate Gotham's citizens into believing that their city is being saved, while the true forces of corruption and power remain untouched. Gotham's elite understand that, in a city riddled with corruption and crime, appearances are everything. By allowing the creation of Batman, they provide the people with a symbol of hope, justice, and fear. This illusion is crucial to maintaining public order and control. By positioning Batman as the city's primary defender, the elite divert public attention away from the deeper, more insidious problems within Gotham. The real power struggles, the political, corporate, and criminal influences that shape the city, remain hidden in the shadows, while Gotham's focus is squarely on the Dark Knight and his battle against crime. This serves two purposes. First, it reinforces the narrative that Gotham's elite are working for the greater good by indirectly supporting Batman, and second, it prevents the public from scrutinizing the elite's involvement in the very systems that allow crime and corruption to flourish. Batman, therefore, becomes not just a crime fighter, but a tool in the manipulation of public perception. His actions, while seemingly selfless, are ultimately shaping the narrative that the city needs a hero like him to survive. The elites know that as long as Batman is the figurehead of Gotham's fight against crime, they can continue their dealings behind the scenes without facing significant public backlash. Gotham's citizens are left with the illusion of justice, while the true dynamics of power remain unchallenged. Bruce Wayne as a figurehead, the puppet master behind the curtain. At the center of this theory lies Bruce Wayne, the man who becomes Batman and whose wealth and influence tie him to Gotham's elite. Bruce Wayne is the perfect figurehead for the role of Batman, not only because of his personal tragedy, but also because of his position within Gotham's power structures. As the heir to Wayne Enterprises, Bruce's wealth gives him the means to fund his vigilantism, while his social status places him within the circles of Gotham's most powerful families and individuals. Bruce Wayne's decision to become Batman could be seen as the ultimate manipulation of the city's elite power structure. By playing the role of a grieving orphan seeking justice, Bruce Wayne provides Gotham's elite with a sympathetic figure who can wage a personal crusade against crime. His public persona as Bruce Wayne, the charming and philanthropic billionaire, contrasts sharply with the fearsome, dark figure of Batman. This duality not only masks Bruce's true intentions but also serves as a convenient diversion for the public. His role as the tragic figure who witnessed the murder of his parents makes him relatable to Gotham's citizens, yet his true allegiance lies with the city's elite. Bruce's ability to move seamlessly between these two identities allows him to play both roles, one of Gotham's rich and influential class, and the other of the mysterious vigilante, the elites. Recognizing his capacity to navigate both worlds could have seen Bruce Wayne's transformation into Batman as an opportunity to further their interests while maintaining an image of moral righteousness. The story of a billionaire vigilante is one that the elite could control, guiding his actions and ensuring that Batman remained focused on the criminals who most threatened their power while leaving their own positions untouched. Gotham SIP's elite and the strategic use of villains. Another important aspect of this theory is the role that Gotham's elite may have played in the creation of Batman's most notorious enemies. Gotham's criminals, from the Joker to the Penguin to Two-Face, all serve as mirrors to Batman, challenging his moral code and presenting the ultimate test of his character. However, in the context of Gotham's elite orchestrating Batman's rise, these villains may not just be random manifestations of chaos. They could be carefully chosen threats, created or manipulated by Gotham's elite to ensure that Batman remains focused on the external battle, thus preventing him from uncovering the deeper issues of corruption within the city. Each villain represents an element of Gotham's underworld that threatens the established order, but they are also a means by which the elite can keep Batman busy. By allowing certain criminals to rise to power, Gotham's elite could maintain the illusion of a city in crisis, one that only Batman can save, while ensuring that the true sources of power remain unchallenged. The Joker, for example, constantly tests Batman's moral code, pushing him to the edge of madness. But the Joker's chaos also provides Gotham's elite with a valuable tool, a means by which they can manipulate Batman's actions while hiding the true nature of Gotham's criminal empire. Villains like the Penguin, who operates in the world of organized crime, or Two-Face, whose dual identity mirrors Batman's own internal conflict, serve to keep Batman's attention focused on defeating criminal empires, all the while preventing Batman from exploring the deeper layers of corruption that exist within Gotham's corporate and political institutions. Gotham's elite, recognizing that Batman is both a symbol of fear and a tool of control, can guide the rise of these villains in such a way that Batman is forced to address the symptoms of the city's corruption while leaving the disease itself untouched. Batman as a controlled variable, a tool of the elite SIP's agenda. Ultimately, Batman's role as a tool in the hands of Gotham's elite hinges on the idea that he is not a rogue vigilante, but a controlled variable in a larger game. While he is portrayed as a force for good, Batman's emergence and actions benefit the elite in profound ways. Gotham's elite can control the narrative surrounding Batman's mission, guiding his efforts to maintain the appearance of justice while protecting their own interests. By creating the persona of Batman, Gotham's elites give the people of the city someone to look up to, someone to believe in. In return, Batman serves their interests by eliminating threats to their power and allowing them to remain in control of the city. The more Batman operates in the shadows, taking down criminals and maintaining order, the more the elite remain untouchable. Gotham's citizens believe they are living in a just city, when in fact, the criminal justice system has been largely replaced by Batman's own sense of morality. The rise of Batman, then, is not just the story of a hero born out of tragedy. It is the story of a symbol created to serve the interests of Gotham's elite. Batman becomes a controlled force of justice, strategically deployed to maintain order while ensuring that the true sources of Gotham's problems, the elite class, remain intact. Batman's first appearance, far from being a spontaneous act of heroism, could have been the culmination of a carefully planned strategy designed to serve those who have always held the reins of power. Batman's existence in Gotham has always been surrounded by mystery and intrigue. The theory that his first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite is not just a speculative notion, but one that draws attention to the ways in which power dynamics within the city are preserved and manipulated. Batman's rise, as much as it represents justice and the fight against corruption, also embodies the complexity of the elite's control over Gotham's system of power. The dual nature of Batman's role, hero or pawn. Batman occupies a dual role in Gotham, both as a symbol of hope and as a tool for maintaining the power structures that govern the city. His presence disrupts criminal enterprises and instills fear in the hearts of the city's lawbreakers, yet his actions often fail to challenge the larger forces that maintain Gotham's corrupt state. In many ways, Batman functions as a necessary evil for Gotham's elite. He is both a figure that the public can rally behind and a mechanism for eliminating threats to the city's order without directly addressing the root causes of that disorder. This duality positions Batman as a pawn within a broader game of power. He is seen as a heroic figure, working outside the law and fighting crime on the streets, but he is also serving the interests of those who secretly benefit from the status quo. By giving Gotham a vigilante hero, the city's elite not only appease the public's demand for justice, but also ensure that their own wealth and power remain intact. They benefit from the perception that the city is being cleaned up, all while the true nature of the power structures remains unchanged. Gotham's elite have always understood the importance of controlling public perception. By allowing Batman to operate, they have given the public a tangible symbol of justice, a figure they can look up to as a protector. Yet, in the process, the city's leaders have ensured that Batman remains focused on the visible and external aspects of Gotham's problems, such as organized crime and corruption, rather than the systemic issues that keep the elite in control. Batman's actions may seem like they are driven by a moral imperative, but in the context of this theory, they could also be seen as a tool to reinforce the power of the few over the many. The role of wealth and influence in Batman's emergence. Bruce Wayne's position as both the billionaire heir to Wayne Enterprises and the masked vigilante Batman provides him with a unique opportunity to influence Gotham's power dynamics. His wealth and status give him access to the city's influential circles, and as Batman, he has the ability to confront the city's criminal underworld. However, Bruce's actions as Batman may not be entirely of his own volition. His role as Gotham's elite allows him to be both a player in the city's power game and a pawn of those who understand the need for control. Consider the possibility that Bruce Wayne's tragic backstory, the murder of his parents, was used to manipulate him into taking on the role of Batman. While Bruce's motivations seem purely personal, seeking justice for his parents' deaths, it is possible that Gotham's elite saw an opportunity in his trauma to create a figure who would fight crime on their behalf. Bruce's transformation into Batman allowed him to embody the city's desire for justice, all while keeping him distracted from the larger forces at play in Gotham's systemic corruption. In this light, Bruce Wayne's personal tragedy becomes the perfect cover for the elite's orchestration of Batman's emergence. By aligning himself with Gotham's elite, Bruce Wayne maintains a carefully curated public image, one that serves to distract both the public and criminals from the true machinations of the city's power players. Wayne Enterprises, as the city's major corporation, provides Bruce with the resources to fund his crime-fighting activities, while his public persona as a philanthropist and businessman allows him to maintain connections with the city's leaders. Batman, then, is not just a symbol of justice, but a tool for maintaining the image of Gotham as a city in which powerful figures are working for the good of its citizens, even as they continue to hold the reins of control. The role of Gotham CIP's institutions in managing Batman CIP's actions. The collaboration between Batman and Gotham's institutions, including the police department and city officials, further suggests that Batman's first appearance may have been orchestrated by the city's elite. Gotham's police force, though portrayed as ineffective or corrupt, never fully rejects Batman. Instead, they allow him to operate within the city's boundaries, often turning a blind eye to his methods of justice. Commissioner Gordon, who is often seen as Batman's ally, works closely with him, suggesting a deeper, perhaps unspoken understanding of the necessity of Batman's existence. Could this collaboration be part of a larger strategy by Gotham's elite to manage crime and maintain public order? By allowing Batman to operate, Gotham's elite provide him with the resources and support needed to maintain the illusion of justice. The bat signal itself is an example of how the city's authorities, while seemingly outside of Batman's influence, actually use him as a tool to direct his actions. The police department, though officially supposed to enforce the law, often depends on Batman to deal with Gotham's more dangerous criminals. This indirect partnership raises the question of whether Batman is truly an independent actor or whether his actions are being guided by a hidden agenda designed to serve the interests of Gotham's powerful. The emergence of Batman CIP's enemies, a controlled challenge. One of the most compelling aspects of Batman's rise is the rapid emergence of his most formidable enemies, villains like the Joker, the Penguin, and Two-Face. While it's tempting to view these characters as spontaneous threats to Gotham, it's possible that their creation and rise were part of a larger plan to shape Batman's role in the city. Each of these villains represents a different challenge to Batman's moral code and personal limitations, forcing him to confront the very fears and weaknesses that make him human. The introduction of these villains could be seen as a means to keep Batman occupied and focused on the external threats, rather than on the systemic corruption and power structures that enable Gotham's problems. By allowing Batman to fight these larger-than-life figures, Gotham's elite ensure that Batman remains engaged in a battle against visible external forces while leaving the underlying issues of power and corruption untouched. The villains are not just threats. They are catalysts for Batman's ongoing struggle, pushing him to evolve and face his internal conflicts while keeping him distracted from the forces that truly control Gotham. Moreover, Gotham's elite may have orchestrated the rise of these villains in such a way that Batman would always be forced into a never-ending battle. The more Batman defeats these enemies, the more they seem to multiply, perpetuating Gotham's chaos and providing an ongoing justification for Batman's existence. This endless cycle of heroism serves to reinforce Batman's role as a tool of control for the city's elite. Conclusion: Batman as Gotham CIP's a necessary illusion. The theory that Batman's first appearance was a setup by Gotham's elite reveals the complex layers of power, control, and manipulation at play in Gotham City. Batman, as a symbol of justice and a tool for fear, serves the dual purpose of appeasing the public's desire for safety while maintaining the control of the city's power structures. His rise is not a spontaneous act of heroism, but rather a carefully constructed move by Gotham's elite to manage both public perception and the criminal underworld. Batman's role, though seemingly driven by personal vengeance, ultimately serves the interests of the city's wealthy and powerful families. They use him to fight crime and maintain order while they continue to operate from the shadows, unchallenged by the very forces they control. Gotham's criminals are defeated, but the system that allows the elite to maintain their power remains intact. Batman's first appearance, far from being the act of a lone crusader, is a well-calculated maneuver that reinforces Gotham's status quo. Through Batman, the elite can control the narrative of justice in Gotham, keeping the public distracted and the criminal underworld in check while they continue to hold the reins of power. As we move deeper into the theory that Batman's first appearance may have been orchestrated by Gotham's elite, we further examine how his presence in the city serves as both a tool and a symbol, one that helps manage the social and political landscape of Gotham while maintaining the status quo for the city's ruling class. Batman's rise to prominence could, in this context, be seen not as an accidental occurrence, but as a calculated decision by the elites to assert control over the chaos of Gotham's underworld and public perception. The role of media and public perception. Gotham SIPs. Narrative control. Gotham's elite, aware of the importance of controlling public perception, may have seen the emergence of Batman as the perfect opportunity to reshape the narrative of justice in the city. In a place where crime and corruption are rampant, the public's faith in traditional institutions such as the police and political system was likely waning. The media, in particular, plays a central role in shaping how Gotham views Batman. By carefully crafting Batman's image as a dark hero and vigilante, Gotham's elite can steer the public's focus away from the deeper systemic issues and direct it toward a singular figure of justice. The media's portrayal of Batman is designed to present him as a mysterious, almost mythical figure, a defender of the people who operates outside the law, but somehow upholds a moral code that the city's institutions cannot. By framing Batman as a solitary hero, Gotham's elites effectively divert the public's attention from the corruption and self-serving actions of the elite class. The media sensationalizes Batman's efforts, giving Gotham a figurehead to rally behind, while simultaneously masking the fact that the criminal underworld and corrupt politicians still hold power behind the scenes. By utilizing the media to create and maintain this public image, Gotham's elite manipulate the population's perception of crime and justice. The rise of Batman becomes a spectacle, with the public eagerly following his every move, rooting for his success, and treating him as an embodiment of hope. But this hope is, in many ways, manufactured, serving the elite's need to maintain control and prevent any real challenge to their power. The elite SIP's invisible hand, shaping Gotham's future through Batman. In Gotham, power does not always have to be overt. The elite class has long held control behind closed doors, with much of their influence felt through financial institutions, corporate entities, and political connections. Batman, as a vigilante figure, becomes the visible manifestation of control over Gotham's chaos, while the true architects of the city's power remain hidden in the background. Gotham's elite, are able to use Batman as a tool to clean up the streets without directly involving themselves in the mess. By allowing Batman to become the public face of justice, Gotham's powerful families and figures ensure that their control over the city remains unchallenged. Batman fights crime and upholds the appearance of justice, but he does not interfere with the systems that truly perpetuate Gotham's inequality, systems that the elites manipulate to retain their power. The city's wealthiest families continue to profit, and its political leaders continue to make deals behind closed doors, all while Batman takes on the role of the hero. The elite's interests are safeguarded as long as Batman is viewed as the primary force of justice. He distracts the public, dealing with the criminals on the streets, while the elites continue to control the flow of wealth and power from the shadows. The more Batman cleans up Gotham's streets, the more the elite class benefits. Gotham's underworld is largely destabilized, but the power structures that truly keep the elites in control are untouched. Batman's actions, therefore, do not disrupt the broader system of wealth and influence that governs the city. They simply serve as a method of pacifying the people and ensuring that the status quo is preserved. Batman, in this context, becomes not only a symbol of justice, but a means to perpetuate the political, financial, and social order that the elite benefit from. Gotham SIP's political system and Batman SIP's relationship with law enforcement. The relationship between Batman and Gotham's law enforcement is another significant piece in the puzzle of how Batman's first appearance may have been a setup. On the surface, Batman's status as a vigilante operating outside the law would seem to put him at odds with the police and the city's political system. However, in reality, Gotham's elite work through the police to keep Batman's efforts aligned with their interests. Commissioner Gordon, Batman's primary ally within the Gotham Police Department, serves as the bridge between the Dark Knight and the law enforcement system. While Gordon is often depicted as a man of integrity, his willingness to work with Batman raises questions about the underlying motivations of Gotham's political and law enforcement systems. What if Gordon's relationship with Batman is not just based on mutual respect, but on a shared understanding of the need for Batman to exist, as well as an implicit agreement that Batman would target the most visible and disruptive elements of crime, those that can be publicly managed, while leaving the elite's criminal dealings untouched? By allowing Batman to operate outside the boundaries of the law, the elite benefit from the public's perception of law enforcement as ineffective, while Batman's actions fill the void left by the corruption within the police force. The elites can thus maintain the illusion that Gotham's problems are being addressed while keeping the deeper, more entrenched corruption intact. Batman becomes the figurehead of justice, while the police and political officials, often compromised by their ties to the elite, remain largely ineffective in their role. Batman's collaboration with Gordon and other law enforcement figures allows the elite to control the narrative around justice in Gotham. They can point to Batman as proof that the city is fighting back against crime without having to directly engage in the fight themselves. Gotham's elite are able to maintain their grip on power by allowing Batman to be the face of justice, while simultaneously controlling the system of governance and law enforcement from behind the scenes. The continued need for Batman, the elite SIP's control over Gotham SIP's future. One of the most compelling aspects of the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite is the ongoing need for Batman in the city. Gotham's elite ensure that there is a continuous cycle of crime for Batman to fight. This cycle keeps the public focused on Batman and allows the elite to maintain their power by constantly manipulating the narrative of crime and justice. As long as Batman is fighting crime on the streets, the real criminals, the elite, are never truly threatened. The city's criminals rise and fall in cycles, and as one threat is eliminated, another takes its place. However, the elite remain untouched. As Batman works to clean up Gotham's streets, the elite work to clean up their own pockets, controlling the flow of wealth and power in ways that the public will never see. Gotham's elite use Batman not just as a symbol of hope, but as a buffer that absorbs the attention of the masses, distracting them from the deeper injustices that persist within the city's political and economic structures. Ultimately, Batman is needed to perpetuate this cycle. He is the necessary symbol of justice in a city where true justice is not intended to disrupt the flow of power. Gotham's elite need Batman as much as Gotham's criminals need fear. Without Batman, the illusion of justice would crumble, and the true nature of Gotham's political and social corruption would be exposed. Gotham's elites, thus, manipulate the creation and continuation of Batman's mission to maintain their control over the city, ensuring that the power they hold remains unchallenged and that their financial and political interests are preserved. As we continue to explore the idea that Batman's emergence was orchestrated by Gotham's elite, the narrative of control and manipulation within Gotham deepens. Gotham's elites, through their influence and power, are able to shape the city's story, directing public opinion, using fear and justice as instruments of control, and positioning Batman as a pivotal part of that larger narrative. The creation of a necessary villain dynamic. One of the most powerful dynamics in Gotham's elite-led narrative is the creation of a necessary villain dynamic. The existence of Batman cannot be understood in isolation. It relies heavily on the need for an adversary. Without the presence of Gotham's criminals, Batman would have no purpose. The criminal element, particularly the notorious supervillains like the Joker, the Penguin, and Two-Face, provides the catalyst for Batman's rise to prominence. The key point here is that Gotham's elite may have cultivated these villains, or at least allowed their rise, as part of a strategy to maintain Batman's relevance. Gotham's elite need to keep Batman engaged in a constant battle, fighting against the criminal element, without questioning the structures that keep them in power. The rise of Gotham's most dangerous criminals ensures that Batman has a never-ending supply of adversaries to fight, and it keeps the people of Gotham focused on the idea of justice, which ultimately protects the elite's control. If we consider the idea that the elites have a hand in managing Gotham's crime and criminal figures, the villains of Gotham could be strategically placed or manipulated in such a way that they serve a dual purpose. Not only do these villains provide Batman with targets to take down, but they also serve to reinforce Gotham's need for Batman. This idea leads us to the conclusion that the villains are not just external threats, they are part of a larger orchestrated power struggle. Batman and Gotham SIP's political machinery, protecting the power structures. As Batman faces off against these criminals, he is actively participating in a system that, while seeming chaotic, is actually serving the interests of Gotham's elite. Batman's actions protect the political and financial systems in place, because the people in power have an understanding that as long as Batman is engaged in a fight against criminals, there will be no serious challenge to their wealth and influence. Gotham's political machinery, with its corrupt officials and corporate giants, relies on the chaos and fear that Batman's presence helps to manage. Batman becomes a figure that absorbs the chaos, allowing the elite to carry out their business undisturbed. His fights against the villains, the mob bosses, and other criminals are often publicized, providing the appearance of a city struggling but fighting back. However, the truth is that Gotham's elite, by using Batman as a tool to manage public perception, continue to manipulate the city from behind closed doors. By having Batman tackle Gotham's surface-level issues, crime, corruption in the streets, organized gangs, the elite ensure that the city's underlying problems, such as political corruption, systemic inequality, and corporate malfeasance, remain untouched. Batman, rather than being a force for sweeping reform, is instead directed at keeping the system functioning in a way that benefits those at the top. His acts of heroism, his ongoing battle against Gotham's criminal element, reinforce the perception that Gotham is a city in need of saving, while obscuring the fact that the same powers responsible for Gotham's flaws continue to profit. The limited scope of Batman sips justice, a key to elite control. Batman's moral code, specifically his refusal to kill, is often portrayed as the foundation of his character. But in the context of this theory, this rule can also be seen as a tool used to limit his scope of action and prevent him from dismantling the real sources of power in Gotham. By limiting himself to taking down only certain types of criminals and never fully confronting the systemic corruption within Gotham's political and corporate structures, Batman remains focused on external threats rather than the deeper, institutional issues that fuel Gotham's crime and injustice. In this way, Batman becomes a tool to uphold the system rather than challenge it. His moral code, which prevents him from crossing the line into murder, allows him to act within the parameters set by the city's elites. By refraining from taking down corrupt politicians or corporate figures, those who wield the true power in Gotham, Batman ensures that the city's elite remain unscathed. They remain protected, free to operate in the shadows, while Batman becomes the figurehead for justice, targeted primarily at the visible criminals, an organized crime that exists outside the elite's control. This limitation of Batman's justice, combined with his ongoing battle against criminals that are more easily controlled or manipulated, reinforces the theory that his rise was not just about fighting crime, it was about creating a figure who could maintain public trust and confidence in the idea of justice, all while keeping the power structures intact. The lasting influence of Gotham Sip's elite. The ever-present need for Batman. The continuous cycle of crime in Gotham, punctuated by the emergence of new villains and the ongoing work of Batman, suggests that the elites have orchestrated a never-ending need for Batman's presence. Gotham's elite ensure that there is always a villain for Batman to confront, ensuring that his existence remains central to the city's narrative of justice. Each time Batman defeats a villain, another one emerges to take their place, maintaining the illusion that Gotham is perpetually at war with crime. This cyclical nature of Batman's battles reflects the underlying reality of Gotham's power structures. Gotham's elite need Batman to continue fighting crime because it serves their interests. The elite need a scapegoat, a figure to absorb the chaos of Gotham's problems while keeping their own operations running smoothly. Batman's ongoing fight against Gotham's criminal element, therefore, is not just a heroic crusade but a necessary part of maintaining the elite's control over the city. Ultimately, Gotham's elite, by allowing Batman to emerge and by guiding his actions, have created a system in which Batman's role as a protector also ensures that the status quo remains undisturbed. His emergence was not an accident, nor was it solely the result of a personal quest for vengeance. Instead, Batman's first appearance served the interests of Gotham's elite, providing them with a symbol of justice that could be controlled, directed, and used to maintain the city's balance of power. Gotham's elite's manipulation of Batman's role is far from limited to maintaining the status quo. They may also have used his presence to suppress any potential uprisings or challenges to their power. Batman's vigilante justice serves not only as a symbolic fight for the city's soul, but also as a mechanism to pacify and control the discontented masses. By positioning Batman as the sole figure fighting for justice, Gotham's elite subtly divert attention away from their own abuses of power, which could otherwise provoke public outcry. Batman as a political tool, reinforcing class divisions. Batman's presence in Gotham is a microcosm of the city's larger social and political struggles. While the Dark Knight is lauded as the protector of the oppressed, the reality is that his very existence reinforces the city's class divisions. Gotham's elite remain untouched by Batman's justice. His moral code prevents him from confronting the systemic causes of the inequality and crime that permeate the city. Batman's focus on individual criminals, rather than tackling the broader issues of poverty, corruption, and corporate greed, keeps the underprivileged in their place. In many ways, Batman serves as a tool that distracts the disenfranchised from the real power players. The elite, by allowing Batman to engage in his high-profile battles, ensure that the lower classes remain focused on the symbolic struggle between good and evil, rather than on addressing the systemic forces that keep them oppressed. Batman's victories over crime give the impression that justice is being served, but his inability to touch the true sources of Gotham's injustice creates a cycle of false hope. As the masses rally behind Batman, the elites continue to profit from the very systems that Batman avoids confronting. By managing the narrative of Batman as the ultimate hero, Gotham's elite create the illusion of progress. The city believes that by eliminating one criminal at a time, Batman is making Gotham a better place. But in reality, the very system that fuels Gotham's inequality remains intact. Batman's role as a crusader against criminals keeps the public occupied, while the political and economic systems that perpetuate injustice go unchallenged. Gotham's elite and their long-term strategy. The manipulation of Batman's role is a long-term strategy for Gotham's elites. By allowing Batman to clean up the streets, they ensure the public's faith in the city's institutions is never fully eroded. Batman's ability to enforce justice on a superficial level creates a sense of order, even if the deeper causes of disorder remain unaddressed. The elite can continue their business dealings, knowing that Batman's actions will allow them to operate in the shadows without facing significant scrutiny. Batman's first appearance, far from being a random event, may have been carefully orchestrated to serve the city's powerful interests. Gotham's elite may have engineered his rise, recognizing that a hero like Batman could bring about a temporary sense of justice while keeping their own actions off the radar. His relentless pursuit of criminal justice gives the public the illusion of fairness, while the true inequalities in Gotham's political and corporate systems are left unexamined. The elites are able to maintain control by fostering a narrative where Batman is the hero, fighting the city's worst elements, while they remain in the background. Through this manipulation, they can continue to secure their wealth and power, knowing that Batman's actions, though symbolic, will never disrupt their dominance in Gotham. Batman's continued fight against Gotham's most visible problems serves as a tool to preserve the very power structures that enable the elite to prosper. The question of Batman sits independence, controlled by Gotham SIP's power brokers. One of the most intriguing aspects of this theory is whether Batman is truly an independent actor or whether he is, to some extent, controlled by Gotham's elite. While Batman presents himself as a lone crusader, his continued battle against certain factions and criminals can be viewed as fulfilling a role that has been shaped by the elite. His moral code, his reluctance to kill, and his targeted actions may all serve to reinforce the narrative that the elites want Gotham to follow. This idea of Batman as a controlled force becomes even more apparent when considering the lack of substantial change in Gotham. Despite Batman's continuous crusade, Gotham's corruption and crime are not wiped out, but merely shifted or controlled in a way that benefits those in power. The elite have long understood the importance of managing not just the criminal element, but also the narrative of justice in Gotham. By using Batman, they create a figurehead that rallies the people's hopes and provides the illusion of a city that is on the mend, all while ensuring that their own wealth and influence remain unchallenged. Batman's role as a symbol of justice can thus be seen as an act of subversion, with the elites pulling the strings behind the scenes to ensure that their power is maintained. Whether through subtle manipulation of public perception or strategic control of Gotham's criminal enterprises, Batman becomes a tool in the hands of the elite, a figure of hope and fear who ultimately preserves the existing power structures. Gotham sips true battle. A fight for power, not justice. Batman's emergence as a symbol of justice, while seemingly heroic, may ultimately reflect Gotham's deeper struggle for power. The city's elite understand that in a city riddled with crime, chaos, and corruption, appearances are everything. Batman's rise is a strategic move to not only maintain order, but to create a spectacle that hides the real power dynamics at play. The elites have long held control over Gotham's political, economic, and social spheres, and by introducing a figure like Batman, they are able to keep the focus on external battles while the internal power structures continue to function as they always have. Batman's moral code, his battle against criminals, and his self-imposed limitations may all be part of a larger strategy. Gotham's elite have positioned him as a necessary force for justice, but his true function may be much more insidious. As long as Batman remains focused on crime and corruption, Gotham's elite remain free to operate unimpeded by scrutiny or challenge. Batman is, in essence, a distraction, one that keeps the people of Gotham entertained by their fight for justice, while the real battle for power is fought in the shadows. The most significant consequence of this theory is that Gotham's true battle is not about crime, nor is it about heroism. It is about control. The elites of Gotham have constructed a system where Batman, rather than being an independent force for justice, is an extension of their own power. He is a hero who serves the narrative of the powerful, keeping Gotham's problems confined to the visible and manageable, while leaving the structural inequalities untouched. As long as Batman fights the criminals, the system remains intact. As we continue exploring the idea that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite, it becomes increasingly apparent that the figure of Batman serves not only as a symbol of justice, but also as a deliberate mechanism for maintaining Gotham's social and political equilibrium. Batman's fight against crime is at face value a noble pursuit. However, his very existence can also be interpreted as a calculated effort to keep the elite's hold over Gotham intact, preventing a true upheaval in the power structures that govern the city. The illusion of justice. Batman SEP's role in shaping Gotham SIP's social order. One of the key aspects of this theory is the idea that Batman, as a figure of justice, is ultimately creating an illusion rather than delivering real reform. Gotham is a city riddled with systemic corruption, political manipulation, and class-based inequality, but Batman's presence ensures that the focus remains on the external battle against street-level criminals, rather than addressing the more insidious forces that underpin the city's power structures. By framing Batman as a force of justice, the elites of Gotham are able to steer the public's attention away from the true sources of their control. Gotham's citizens, inspired by Batman's vigilante justice, are led to believe that their city is being saved from criminals. However, Batman's failure to tackle the elite's own involvement in the city's corruption serves to keep the systemic issues hidden. The battle between Batman and criminals, then, is not one of ultimate good versus evil, but a carefully controlled narrative to maintain social order and keep Gotham's elite in power. Batman, in this sense, becomes a symbol that pacifies the population and ensures that the real criminals, those in positions of wealth, power, and influence, remain untouchable. The masses are led to believe that Gotham's problems are caused by criminals on the streets, when in reality it is the structures of power in the city, structures controlled by the elite, that sustain the criminal environment. Batman is fighting against. This illusion of justice distracts from the more complex, systemic forces that Gotham's elite have mastered. The endless cycle, Gotham sips power brokers, and the need for Batman. Gotham's elite need Batman as much as Batman needs Gotham's villains. His constant battle against criminals and his reliance on the emergence of new threats creates an endless cycle that benefits the elite. As one criminal organization or villain is taken down, another rises to take their place, ensuring that Batman remains relevant and necessary. This ongoing cycle of chaos is essential to maintaining the illusion that Gotham's crime problem is something that can be solved through vigilante action. The constant need for new villains plays into the hands of Gotham's elite. By manipulating events behind the scenes, they ensure that the criminal element is always there for Batman to fight, keeping the public's attention focused on Gotham's visible problems. This never-ending cycle of Batman's crusade serves as a tool for distraction, ensuring that the power dynamics at the top remain unaffected. Gotham's elites may even orchestrate or permit the rise of new threats, knowing that each new adversary for Batman will strengthen the city's reliance on him as the protector and the symbol of justice. Furthermore, Batman's ability to fight these villains, while not solving the deeper issues of Gotham, reaffirms the belief that the city's problems are not institutional but merely the result of individual criminal actors. This narrative is advantageous to the elites, as it helps maintain public order by directing anger and frustration toward criminals, rather than challenging the powers that be. Batman's heroism, in a sense, is part of the mechanism that keeps Gotham's elite untouchable, while allowing the city to believe it is moving towards justice. The role of Bruce Wayne, the man behind the mask and the elite's zest influence. Bruce Wayne's dual identity is central to understanding how Gotham's elite might have manipulated his rise as Batman. As the head of Wayne Enterprises, Bruce is intrinsically tied to the city's economic and political systems. His wealth and influence, combined with his personal tragedy, make him an ideal candidate to play the role of the city's hero. However, it is important to question whether Bruce Wayne's transformation into Batman was entirely of his own doing, or if it was a move orchestrated by Gotham's elite. Bruce Wayne, as the son of a prominent family, has the resources to fund his crime-fighting efforts. This wealth and access to Gotham's power circles make him an ideal player in the elite's larger strategy. His personal trauma, the murder of his parents, provides the emotional justification for his transformation into Batman. Yet, Gotham's elite may have recognized his personal need for justice as an opportunity to use Bruce Wayne as a tool in their ongoing effort to control the city's narrative. Bruce's decision to become Batman may have been facilitated by figures within Gotham's elite who understood that a symbol like Batman could serve as a way to combat crime while allowing the elite to maintain their power. The Wayne family's long-standing ties to Gotham's ruling class could have influenced Bruce's role in the city's larger power dynamic. His personal journey of revenge and justice, as seen through the lens of Gotham's elites, might have been subtly guided to ensure that his actions ultimately benefited their interests. Bruce Wayne's position as a member of Gotham's elite provides him with both the resources and the societal status needed to maintain Batman's role. However, it also places him in a position where he may unknowingly be serving the larger game of the city's power brokers. In this sense, Bruce Wayne's identity as Batman is a dual role. While he fights for justice on the streets, he also plays a part in perpetuating the power structures that the city's elites control. Conclusion: Batman as the elite sept, instrument of control and power preservation. In conclusion, the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite paints a picture of a city where justice is not as clear-cut as it appears. Batman, as a vigilante, may be seen as a symbol of hope for Gotham's citizens, but his existence serves the dual purpose of reinforcing the power structures of the elite. By positioning Batman as the city's protector, Gotham's elites manage public perception, direct attention away from systemic corruption, and maintain control over the city's resources and institutions. Batman's rise was not an accident. It was, in all likelihood, a carefully constructed plan by Gotham's power brokers to create a figure who could maintain the appearance of justice while leaving the fundamental issues of the city unchallenged. Gotham's elite could, through Batman, control both the public's sense of safety and their perception of justice. Batman's role in Gotham is not just as a protector, but as a tool, one that the elite use to preserve their power, distract the people, and maintain the fragile order they have created. Ultimately, Batman's role is part of the larger strategy of controlling Gotham. While he may appear to be a force for good, his existence helps preserve the very corruption and inequality that fuels the city's power struggles. Gotham's elite, through Batman's emergence, ensure that they remain the true rulers of the city, while the public remains focused on the hero in the shadows. As we continue to analyze the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite, the implications of this strategy unfold further. Gotham's criminal justice system, with Batman as its central figure, plays a crucial role in both controlling crime and preserving the power structures that benefit the elite. This system is not only designed to maintain order, but to prevent real, systemic change by focusing public attention on surface-level crime while allowing the underlying corruption to persist unchecked. The symbol of fear: how Gotham Cit's elite use Batman to maintain public order. One of the most essential aspects of Batman's role within Gotham is his ability to strike fear into the hearts of criminals. The elite, understanding the need for control and stability, utilize Batman as the perfect symbol of fear, a force of justice that operates outside the law but is still celebrated by the public. Batman, in this sense, becomes more than just a vigilante. He is an institution, a tool used to maintain order by controlling public perception. By having Batman appear as a larger-than-life figure, the elite can effectively manage Gotham's criminal activity while keeping the power dynamics intact. Batman operates under his own code, answering to no one except for his own sense of justice. However, despite this independence, Gotham's elite control the narrative surrounding Batman's mission. Batman fights criminals who are a direct threat to the elite's power, yet he is also used as a tool to ensure that the greater issues of systemic inequality and corruption remain hidden. His role as a fearsome figure is exactly what Gotham's elite need to keep the public in check, ensuring that their grip on the city remains secure. Batman's status as a symbol of fear serves to remind Gotham's citizens of the tenuousness of order. It creates a psychological environment where, despite the city's rampant crime, the people are reassured by the existence of a protector, while also accepting that true justice cannot be achieved unless someone like Batman exists. By maintaining the fear of criminals, Gotham's elites ensure that their own position remains unchallenged. Batman's role as an enforcer of order becomes a necessary component of the status quo. Batman sips impact on the political system, a convenient distraction. Another significant factor in the theory of Batman as a tool for the elite is the way he impacts the political system in Gotham. Batman's constant battle against crime, particularly against figures like the Joker or Bane, draws attention away from the true political struggles that shape the city. Political corruption, while rampant in Gotham, is seldom addressed in Batman's crusade. Instead, Batman focuses his efforts on taking down street-level criminals and organized crime syndicates, but rarely does he engage with the political figures or corporate giants who benefit from Gotham's dysfunction. The political system in Gotham is riddled with corruption. Powerful politicians, judges, and businessmen are often seen working with or turning a blind eye to the city's criminal activities, all while maintaining an air of legitimacy. Batman's presence serves as a convenient distraction. His constant battles against Gotham's most visible threats keep the public occupied with questions of justice, morality, and law enforcement. Meanwhile, the political elite can continue their backdoor dealings without facing significant public opposition. In this sense, Batman becomes an enabler of Gotham's corrupt political system. While he fights the visible criminals, the true sources of corruption, the political and economic elites, are left unchecked. Batman's pursuit of justice is noble, but it is also limited. The elites understand that Batman's fight will never reach the true heart of the city's problems, and so long as that is the case, their power remains untouched. The cycle of justice. Batman sips perpetual need to fight crime. A critical element of the theory that Batman's appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite is the endless cycle of crime that Gotham faces. Despite Batman's best efforts, Gotham's crime rate never truly decreases. Instead, the city remains in a constant state of turmoil, with new criminals and villains emerging at a steady pace. This perpetual state of crime and unrest serves the dual purpose of maintaining Batman's relevance and ensuring that Gotham's elite continue to operate with little oversight. Gotham's elite, by allowing Batman to continue his crusade, create a cycle where Batman's mission is never truly completed. Criminals may be arrested, but they are quickly replaced by new threats. Batman's inability to ever fully restore peace in Gotham allows the city's elites to maintain the illusion that Batman is still needed, even as the real problems of the city go unaddressed. This cycle of crime ensures that Batman remains engaged in a never-ending struggle, one that prevents him from ever questioning the true sources of the city's corruption. Moreover, the emergence of new villains, such as the Joker, Bane, or Ra's al Ghul, ensures that Batman has a continual stream of threats to focus on. Gotham's elites may even be complicit in allowing these villains to rise, understanding that their presence keeps Batman busy and distracted from the true power struggles at play. By maintaining this constant state of chaos, the elites can ensure that Gotham's problems remain externalized, leaving the power structures that benefit them unchallenged. The illusion of justice. Gotham's real fight is for power, not crime. At the heart of the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite lies the realization that Gotham's true struggle is not one of crime and justice, but one of power. Gotham's elite are not concerned with eliminating crime, they are concerned with controlling the narrative around crime, justice, and order. Batman, as a symbol of justice, is the perfect tool to reinforce their control over the city. His actions allow them to maintain the illusion of a just system, one that can be trusted to handle the city's problems without addressing the larger, systemic forces that perpetuate corruption. Batman's role, then, is not simply to fight crime, but to reinforce the idea that Gotham's elites are in control. His existence serves to remind the public that there is a hero who is keeping the worst of the city's problems at bay, even as the real sources of corruption remain in place. The more Batman fights, the more he reinforces the belief that justice is being done in Gotham, even if it is only on the surface. Gotham's elites benefit from Batman's role because his presence keeps the city's focus on crime rather than on the institutional forces that fuel that crime. The system remains intact, and the elites continue to control the narrative. Batman's rise may have been designed as a means of managing Gotham's crime problem while maintaining the power of those at the top. His existence creates the illusion of progress, but in reality it ensures that Gotham remains a city divided by class, corruption, and inequality. Gotham's elites, through the manipulation of public perception and the strategic use of Batman, can ensure that the city's power structures remain unchallenged. Batman, as the symbol of justice, draws the public's attention to the visible, immediate problems of crime, while the deeper systemic issues that allow the elite to maintain their power continue to operate behind the scenes. This creates a situation where Batman's role, though seemingly focused on protecting Gotham's citizens, is actually helping to preserve the status quo, benefiting those in positions of wealth and influence. Batman sips influence on Gotham sips legal and social systems. One of the most powerful ways in which Batman's role is manipulated by Gotham's elite is through his impact on the city's legal and social systems. By functioning outside the law and operating beyond the reach of traditional justice, Batman creates an environment in which the legal system becomes irrelevant in some respects. Gotham's elite know that Batman's actions, while providing the appearance of justice, are also disempowering the legal institutions meant to oversee the city's governance. While Batman is perceived as a hero by the public, his existence undermines the work of the police and the judicial system, which are already struggling with corruption. The more Gotham's institutions fail to deal with the city's problems, the more Batman is seen as a necessary force. His rise and continued presence serve to reinforce the idea that Gotham is incapable of functioning properly without him, perpetuating the belief that the city's problems are so vast and insurmountable that only someone like Batman can address them. This belief, while reinforcing Batman's heroism, also ensures that the elite's control over the city's power structures remains unchallenged. Moreover, by operating as a vigilante, Batman indirectly supports a narrative where traditional systems of justice are seen as insufficient. His refusal to kill, his pursuit of justice outside the legal framework, creates a situation where the citizens of Gotham place their faith in a single individual, Batman, rather than in the collective power of the police, the courts, or elected officials. This elevates Batman to a status that makes him not only the symbol of justice, but also a figure who has the power to challenge and disrupt the city's balance of power, but only in a way that suits the elite. The creation of the Bat mythos, myth, and manipulation. Another key factor in understanding Batman's function as a tool for the elite is the mythology surrounding him. Gotham's elites are not just relying on Batman's physical presence, but also on the image they have crafted around him. The Bat mythos, the legend of the Batman, has been carefully constructed, both through media and public perception, to serve a specific purpose, to create an image of Gotham as a city beset by overwhelming crime, requiring a dark, almost supernatural force to restore order. This mythic figure, who exists beyond the law and above the city's traditional structures of power, becomes an invaluable asset to Gotham's elite. The myth of Batman allows the public to rally behind him, believing that Gotham's elites are fighting to keep them safe by allowing a vigilante to operate freely. Batman, as a mythic figure, also creates a sense of fear in the criminal element. Gotham's criminals fear him not just because of his combat skills, but because they have been conditioned to believe that he is a force beyond their control. This fear is critical for Gotham's elites, as it keeps the criminal underworld in check while maintaining the appearance of justice being served. By allowing the myth of Batman to take shape, the elites ensure that the narrative of Gotham's struggle remains focused on crime rather than on the political and economic factors that perpetuate that crime. The more Batman becomes an unassailable figure, the less likely it is that the city's real issues, corruption, inequality, and corporate control, will be examined critically. The elites control the narrative by allowing Batman to remain above reproach, simultaneously using him as a symbol of justice, while ensuring that he serves their broader agenda of maintaining control over the city's resources and social order. Gotham's real struggle: power, not crime. At the heart of the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite lies the notion that Gotham's real struggle is not with crime, but with power. The city's criminal element is a symptom of a much larger issue, an entrenched power structure that benefits from the status quo. Gotham's elites are aware that the criminal underworld provides a convenient target for public frustration. By focusing attention on Gotham's criminals, they deflect attention away from their own role in perpetuating the city's inequality and corruption. Batman's battles against Gotham's most notorious villains, such as the Joker, Bane, and the Penguin, serve to keep the public's focus squarely on crime. The public sees these villains as the root cause of Gotham's problems, while the elites remain behind the scenes, quietly profiting from the systems of power that perpetuate the city's issues. Each new villain that Batman faces can be seen as another tool for controlling the narrative. The criminals may change, but the system that sustains Gotham's inequality remains untouched. The more Batman defeats these supervillains, the more the elites can maintain the illusion of justice, while continuing to engage in the true battle for power behind closed doors. The criminal underworld, represented by the likes of the Joker or the Penguin, serves as a useful distraction. While Batman's presence fights against street-level crime, the underlying systems of corruption, whether political, economic, or corporate, are left unchallenged. Gotham's elites can continue their dealings, knowing that Batman will never take down the true sources of power in the city. Batman sits true role as a tool for elite control. The idea that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite shifts our understanding of his role in the city. Far from being a spontaneous act of vengeance or justice, Batman's rise serves the interests of Gotham's powerful families and figures, maintaining the illusion of justice, while ensuring that the true sources of crime, corruption, and inequality remain untouched. Gotham's elites have managed to manipulate Batman's emergence and continue to shape the narrative surrounding him in such a way that their power is never directly threatened. By creating the figure of Batman, Gotham's elite were able to control both the public's perception of justice and the criminal underworld. Batman's actions against criminals, while seemingly heroic, ultimately reinforce the power dynamics that keep Gotham's elite in control. The rise of Batman serves as a distraction, keeping the public focused on external crime while the political, economic, and social systems of power remain unchallenged. Ultimately, Batman is a tool in a much larger game. His existence provides the public with the illusion of justice while ensuring that the true perpetrators of Gotham's problems, the elites, remain in control. Gotham's real struggle is not crime but power, and Batman's role, as much as it serves to fight crime, also serves to reinforce the power structures that allow Gotham's elite to maintain their grip on the city. Batman's role within Gotham, though perceived as the city's protector, is not without its complications. His continuous battle against crime and his status as an iconic symbol of justice often overshadow the larger, more pressing issues that lie within Gotham's power structures. Gotham's elite have crafted a system where Batman is not just a vigilante, but an essential player in their game of control, manipulation, and power preservation. By maintaining Batman as a figure of fear and justice, they ensure that the status quo remains intact, while the public remains distracted by the visible manifestations of crime. The strategic use of Batman's influence. One critical aspect of Batman's role that must be explored further is the way in which the elite may use his influence over Gotham's population. Batman, by operating as a lone vigilante, creates an environment where the city's law enforcement is seen as ineffective, incompetent, and often compromised. In this context, Batman becomes the only figure who can be trusted to deliver justice, effectively replacing the police and judicial system as the primary mechanism for addressing crime. But this shift in public perception is precisely what benefits Gotham's elite. The elites understand that as long as the public's trust in traditional justice systems wanes, the need for Batman will continue. His presence as a lone enforcer of justice creates a power vacuum where the people are left to rely on Batman, a figure who, despite his apparent independence, operates within the parameters set by the elite. This creates a dynamic where Batman is seen as the hero of Gotham, but the true systems of control remain largely unchanged. By allowing Batman to remain outside the law, the elite ensure that Gotham's power structures are maintained without significant disruption. The public's belief in Batman as the solution to the city's problems serves to reinforce the idea that justice can only be delivered through exceptional, extraordinary measures. This, in turn, helps to justify the continuation of a system where the elites control the flow of resources, wealth, and influence in the city. The elite sips hidden-hand, direct and indirect manipulation. While Batman's appearance and actions may appear to be driven by his personal mission for justice, Gotham's elite have the means and the power to subtly shape his trajectory. Throughout his career, Batman encounters a wide range of individuals who influence his actions, whether directly or indirectly, forcing him to confront issues that align with the elite's goals. For example, figures like Lucius Fox, who works within Wayne Enterprises, and members of Gotham's political establishment often guide Bruce Wayne's decisions without him fully realizing it. Their subtle influence can steer Batman's focus toward specific criminals or sectors of Gotham's underworld, ensuring that the elite's interests are served. Similarly, key figures within Gotham's criminal world, such as Carmine Falcone or even characters like the Joker, may play a larger role in this manipulation. While Batman sees these villains as enemies to be defeated, their very presence in Gotham serves to reinforce the city's need for a figure like Batman. The elites may tolerate these figures' actions, as they ultimately provide the perfect distractions and challenges for Batman, preventing him from focusing on the deeper issues that may threaten the power structures they hold dear. Batman's battle with Gotham's criminals can thus be seen as both a necessity and a game. One, where Gotham's elite control the board. By allowing certain figures to rise and fall, the elites maintain control over the direction of Gotham's conflicts and ensure that Batman remains preoccupied with issues that keep the public distracted from the larger political and social forces at play. Batman as a counterbalance. Fear and control. Gotham's elite have long understood the power of fear in maintaining control. Batman, as a symbol of fear, serves to reinforce the divide between the powerful and the powerless. His presence on the streets acts as a reminder of the fragility of order in Gotham, and the elite can use that fear to manipulate both the criminal class and the general population. The fear of Batman ensures that the public remains in line, knowing that crime, though rampant, is met with swift and often violent retribution. For Gotham's criminal underworld, Batman represents the ultimate enforcer of justice. But for the elite, he is a reminder that their dominance cannot be challenged by the common people. Batman's fearsome reputation creates a city where the powerful, the rich, and the influential remain at the top, while the rest of the population is left to rely on Batman's protection. This creates a scenario where the elite can continue to amass wealth and influence, knowing that their grip on power is reinforced by the fear Batman instills in those who might threaten their hold on the city. Batman, through his actions and his very existence, enforces the notion that power is something that must be earned, controlled, and preserved by a select few. Gotham's elite remain secure in their positions of power, knowing that Batman's fearsome persona works to maintain a sense of order that benefits them. This fear-based control extends beyond the criminal underworld and infiltrates the social fabric of Gotham, ensuring that no true challenge to the status quo emerges from the lower classes. The symbiotic relationship, Batman and Gotham's elite. As we explore the intricate relationship between Batman and Gotham's elite, it becomes clear that the two are bound in a symbiotic cycle. Batman's existence benefits Gotham's elite by giving them a figure to serve as both a protector and a distraction. In return, Batman's crusade against crime becomes an endless loop, with new villains continually emerging to challenge him. These villains, while seemingly independent forces of chaos, often serve the dual purpose of keeping Batman engaged in the fight for justice and distracting him from the deeper systemic issues that Gotham faces. The elites, while allowing Batman to carry out his mission, ensure that Gotham's power structures remain in place. They maintain control over the city's resources, wealth, and governance, and through their indirect influence, they shape the direction of Batman's battle. Batman, despite his moral code and his fight against crime, is ultimately a player in a game controlled by those with the most power in Gotham. Ultimately, Gotham's elites have created an environment where Batman's existence is not only justified, but necessary. His actions reinforce the city's narrative of justice, while leaving the true sources of Gotham's inequality and corruption untouched. Batman, despite his best intentions, serves as both a protector and a tool, one that the elite use to maintain their control while keeping the public focused on the battle between good and evil. As we delve deeper into Batman's role as a tool of control for Gotham's elite, we begin to recognize that Batman's fight for justice, while noble on the surface, is inherently limited by the forces that shape Gotham's power structures. Gotham's elite, through a combination of manipulation, fear, and strategic influence, have ensured that Batman serves a dual purpose as a symbol of hope for the public and as an instrument of control that keeps their hold on power intact. The strategic use of Batman's public image. One of the most powerful tools at the disposal of Gotham's elite is the strategic use of Batman's public image. The city's elites understand that the public's perception of Batman is a vital part of maintaining control over Gotham. By fostering an image of Batman as a hero, someone who operates outside the law, yet fights for justice, they ensure that the people of Gotham remain captivated by the idea that justice is being done. This image of Batman as a symbol of hope serves to distract the public from the deeper issues that plague the city. The media plays a critical role in this manipulation, consistently reinforcing Batman's status as the protector of Gotham. The city's media outlets are often complicit in portraying Batman as a force of justice, without questioning his methods or the true nature of the system he operates within. By shaping the narrative surrounding Batman, Gotham's elite create an environment where the people believe that Batman's fight is their fight, keeping them from questioning the larger forces at play. This manipulation of public perception ensures that Gotham's elite remain in control, as Batman's presence convinces the public that their problems are being addressed, even as the real sources of Gotham's issues, political corruption, corporate malfeasance, and systemic inequality, go unchallenged. By maintaining this illusion of justice, the elites keep the population from rising up against the deeper forces of power that keep them oppressed. Batman sips selective justice, the focus on visible crime. Another crucial aspect of Batman's role is the selective nature of his justice. While he battles the most visible manifestations of Gotham's crime, gangsters, corrupt officials, and supervillains, he never truly confronts the systemic corruption that exists within the city's infrastructure. This selective approach to justice benefits Gotham's elite, as it allows them to keep the focus on street-level crime while ignoring the real power structures that enable crime to thrive. Gotham's elites understand that Batman's focus on visible crime serves their interests. As long as Batman is occupied with taking down criminals, the elite can continue to operate in the shadows, free from scrutiny. The real criminals, the corporate moguls, the politicians, and the wealthy families remain untouchable, as Batman never truly addresses the corruption that sustains their power. Batman's refusal to kill, his adherence to his moral code, ensures that he will never take down the systems of power that enable crime. His focus on individual criminals, rather than the institutions that create and perpetuate crime, means that the elite remain protected from any real threat to their power. By limiting his actions to fighting criminals who are a direct threat to public order, Batman becomes a tool for Gotham's elite, ensuring that the city's most powerful figures remain untouched by his crusade. In this way, Batman's role as a force for justice is compromised, as his actions only serve to reinforce the city's existing power structures. The role of Gotham SIP's law enforcement and Batman SIP's agenda. Gotham's law enforcement, particularly Commissioner Gordon, also plays a crucial role in this larger plan. While Gordon is often portrayed as a man of integrity, his willingness to work with Batman raises questions about the relationship between Gotham's police and the city's elite. Gordon's collaboration with Batman serves to legitimize the vigilante's actions, presenting Batman as an ally to the police, even though he operates outside the law. This partnership between Batman and the police is convenient for Gotham's elites, as it provides the public with the illusion that the city's law enforcement is actively fighting crime. The elites benefit from this collaboration, as it allows them to distance themselves from the darker aspects of Gotham's power structure. By allowing Batman to act as a shadow enforcer, Gotham's elites ensure that the police force remains ineffective in addressing the city's deeper issues. Batman takes on the responsibility of dealing with criminals, while the police are left to manage lesser threats. This partnership also allows the elites to maintain control over both the legal and extrajudicial aspects of Gotham's justice system. Gordon's relationship with Batman can be seen as a form of manipulation, where the elites ensure that the police are ineffective at truly confronting the city's systemic corruption. Batman becomes the enforcer of justice, while the real power brokers in Gotham's political and corporate systems are left to operate in the background, untouched by Batman's actions. Batman sits heroes and villains, a complex dance of control. The relationship between Batman and Gotham's villains is equally telling in this theory. Gotham's most notorious criminals, such as the Joker, the Penguin, and Two-Face, serve not only as antagonists to Batman, but as tools to reinforce the narrative that Gotham is a city in crisis, in need of a hero like Batman. The elite, recognizing the need for Batman to remain engaged in a never-ending battle against crime, ensure that new villains constantly rise to challenge Batman's sense of justice. This ongoing conflict keeps the public focused on Batman's heroism, while the elites continue to shape the city's power dynamics. What's particularly striking is that many of Batman's most dangerous foes, like the Joker, often represent chaos and unpredictability. The Joker's very existence challenges Batman's moral code, forcing him to question his sense of justice and his role in Gotham. However, the Joker, like other villains, is also a necessary element of the larger narrative of control. By allowing the Joker and other villains to create chaos, Gotham's elite can maintain the illusion that Gotham is a city at war, where Batman's struggle for justice is the key to its survival. These villains are in essence a mirror of the city's deeper struggles, but they remain under the control of the elite, serving their larger agenda. The fact that Gotham's elite benefit from Batman's war on crime highlights the symbiotic relationship between Batman, his villains, and the power structures that govern the city. As long as Batman is fighting against the visible signs of crime, the elites can continue to operate without facing any real threat. Batman's battles, while significant on the surface, ultimately serve the interests of the city's ruling class. The mask of justice, the continuing cycle of control. The most striking aspect of this theory is that Gotham's elites have created a cycle that keeps Batman engaged in a never-ending battle against crime. By allowing criminals to rise and fall, by strategically creating new threats, and by shaping the public's perception of justice, Gotham's elites ensure that Batman remains a key figure in the city's power dynamic. The cycle of crime that Batman fights against keeps him perpetually occupied, ensuring that he remains a symbol of justice while the true power structures continue to operate behind the scenes. Batman's moral code, his refusal to kill, and his focus on individual criminals create a scenario where the elite can manipulate the narrative of justice in Gotham without ever truly addressing the city's systemic corruption. Batman's role as a force for good is compromised by the fact that he is, in many ways, a tool for maintaining control over the city's power structures. Gotham's elite benefit from his presence, ensuring that their grip on power remains unchallenged as long as Batman continues his crusade. As we delve further into the broader implications of Batman's role as a tool in the hands of Gotham's elite, we start to realize that his fight against crime is part of a larger systemic effort to maintain the status quo. Gotham's elites have skillfully used Batman's existence to not only manage the city's public order, but also to keep the deeper, more structural issues, those which threaten their wealth and power, hidden from view. His presence in the city ensures that the real source of the city's corruption, inequality, and institutional failures are never truly addressed. Batman sits a role as a distraction from systemic inequality, One of the most significant aspects of Batman's function within Gotham is how he diverts attention away from the broader systemic inequalities that plague the city. Gotham is a city where the elite few control the vast majority of wealth and resources, while the vast majority of the population struggles with poverty, crime, and corruption. Batman's constant battle against Gotham's criminals, while seemingly addressing the city's problems, ultimately leaves the deeper issues unexamined. The elite, recognizing the value of Batman as a figurehead for justice, have ensured that he is constantly engaged in the battle against visible crime rather than questioning the root causes of Gotham's struggles. In this way, Batman becomes a figure who serves the elite's interests by deflecting attention from the true sources of Gotham's suffering. His focus on individual criminals, while important, does nothing to address the systemic corruption in the political, economic, and social systems that allow these criminals to thrive. The elite benefit from Batman's inability to tackle the larger problems of institutional failure, as his role is framed as that of a protector, someone who is fighting against the visible elements of crime, while the elite's hold on power remains unchallenged. By focusing on street-level crime, Batman inadvertently reinforces the idea that Gotham's problems are merely the result of rogue individuals or criminal gangs, rather than deeply ingrained corruption. The elite use Batman to distract the population from the fact that the very systems that perpetuate inequality are the ones that allow crime to thrive in the first place. Batman's presence becomes a mechanism to keep the public focused on fighting crime on the streets, while the true causes of crime, such as poverty, corruption, and a rigged political system, are allowed to persist. Batman and Gotham sips corporate power. Maintaining the status quo. Another critical element in understanding Batman's role within Gotham's elite power structure is his indirect involvement with the city's corporate power. Gotham's elites, the wealthy business families and corporate magnates who control the city's resources, operate under the radar, away from the public eye. While Batman targets individual criminals and criminal syndicates, the true power brokers of Gotham, those who pull the strings behind the scenes, are often untouched by his actions. Bruce Wayne, as the head of Wayne Enterprises, is deeply intertwined with Gotham's corporate class. His wealth and influence place him in direct contact with the city's elites, yet as Batman, he never truly takes aim at the economic power that allows these families to control the city. Wayne Enterprises itself can be seen as a symbol of Gotham's elite, a corporation that operates in the shadows, untouched by the chaos Batman fights against. Through his role as both Bruce Wayne and Batman, Bruce Wayne remains a part of this system, inadvertently helping to sustain the power structures he claims to be fighting against. The city's elites understand the value of a figure like Batman, who keeps the focus on the criminal element while they continue to operate unchecked. Batman's moral code, his refusal to kill, and his singular focus on criminals and organized crime allow the elites to operate freely without fear of facing the scrutiny that might otherwise befall them. Batman's selective justice, combined with his focus on public enemies, ensures that the corporate and political systems in Gotham are left largely unexamined. Gotham sips political system and Batman sips role as a buffer. Batman's relationship with Gotham's political system further reinforces the theory that he was engineered by the elites to maintain their control. Gotham's politicians, though often corrupt, need to maintain the illusion of order and stability to keep their power intact. Batman, in his role as a vigilante, provides the perfect buffer. He operates outside the law, fighting criminals and organized crime in a way that the corrupt political system cannot. Commissioner Gordon's close relationship with Batman is a prime example of how the political system and the vigilante hero are intertwined. Gordon, while often depicted as the one honest man in Gotham's police force, is often shown to turn a blind eye to Batman's methods, recognizing that the vigilante's actions are beneficial to the city. This partnership between Batman and Gotham's law enforcement serves to create the illusion that the city is fighting back against crime, while the real criminals, politicians, corporate elites, and businessmen are left unchallenged. The political elites, understanding that Batman's existence serves their purposes, allow him to continue his crusade against crime. Batman's ability to operate outside the political system helps maintain the illusion that Gotham is safe, while the corruption at the heart of the city remains hidden. This creates a system where the police and the political system are rendered ineffective, and Batman's actions become the public face of justice, despite the fact that he never truly addresses the systemic issues at play. The Joker, Batman Sip's greatest adversary, and the elite Sip's tool of control. A critical figure in this theory is the Joker, perhaps Batman's greatest adversary. The Joker's existence in Gotham represents the chaos and unpredictability that Batman must face. But in the context of the theory that Gotham's elite orchestrated Batman's rise, the Joker becomes more than just a villain. He represents the controlled chaos that the elites use to keep Batman, and by extension, the public, distracted from the deeper issues of the city's power structures. The Joker's constant efforts to break Batman's moral code and push him to the brink of madness challenge Batman's sense of justice. However, the Joker's chaos also serves a dual purpose by destabilizing Gotham's social order. He reinforces Batman's role as a protector. The more chaos the Joker creates, the more Batman becomes necessary to restore order, further solidifying the elite's narrative that Gotham needs a hero. The Joker's rise can be seen as part of a larger effort to keep Batman engaged in a battle that distracts him from questioning the true sources of Gotham's dysfunction. The Joker's role as the ultimate disruptor and Batman's moral antithesis serves to perpetuate the cycle of crime fighting. The elites benefit from the Joker's existence because it ensures that Batman's focus remains on criminal activity, allowing the elites to continue their control over Gotham's political and economic systems without facing the consequences of their actions. As we continue to explore the intricate role of Batman within the broader framework of Gotham's power structures, it becomes evident that his presence is not just an accidental part of Gotham's justice system, but a pivotal mechanism by which the elite control the city's narrative and maintain their dominance. By keeping Batman engaged in the visible fight against crime, they prevent any true challenge to the systems that perpetuate corruption, inequality, and injustice. Batman is the perpetual symbol of hope, keeping the public distracted. At the heart of the manipulation of Batman's image is his status as a symbol of hope for Gotham's citizens. Gotham, a city teetering on the edge of complete chaos, relies on Batman as the personification of justice and salvation. His presence on the streets serves as a beacon for the oppressed, providing them with hope that they are not alone in their struggles. Batman's heroic actions allow the public to believe that change is possible, even as the deeper, more systemic forces of Gotham remain unchallenged. But this hope is, in many ways, manufactured. Gotham's elite recognize that hope can be a powerful tool for control. By positioning Batman as the symbol of hope, they ensure that the public remains focused on the external fight against crime rather than questioning the larger forces that sustain the city's power structures. Batman's image serves as a distraction, a comforting figure that reassures the citizens of Gotham that someone is fighting for them, even as the elites continue to profit from the chaos that Batman's fight against crime creates. In this sense, Batman becomes a necessary figure for the elites, a tool that helps maintain public trust in the system while diverting attention away from the true sources of the city's problems. Gotham's elites need Batman as the face of justice, but they also need the public's faith in him to remain strong. As long as Batman is seen as the city's protector, Gotham's elite can continue their operations without fear of exposure or disruption. The corporate elite and Batman SIP's impact on Gotham SIP's economy. Another key aspect of Batman's role within Gotham's elite-driven system is his indirect impact on the city's economy. Gotham's wealthy business families and corporate giants control much of the city's resources, and Batman's fight against crime, while noble, often serves to protect these corporate interests. Batman's actions, particularly against street-level criminals and organized crime, can be seen as ensuring the stability of the city's economy, as it prevents crime from becoming so pervasive that it undermines the businesses and investments that the elite rely on. While Batman may be fighting against criminals like the Penguin or the various mob bosses that plague Gotham, his work indirectly benefits the corporate elite who profit from the city's economic systems. The more Batman targets smaller, visible threats, the less likely he is to address the corruption within the corporate world or the systemic financial exploitation that keeps Gotham's elite in power. Batman's impact on Gotham's economy is therefore limited. He may stop robberies and confront organized crime, but he never truly challenges the systems that allow the wealthy to monopolize the city's resources. Moreover, the very existence of crime, whether in the form of street gangs, drug cartels, or corrupt politicians, serves to reinforce the need for figures like Batman. The elites benefit from the ongoing chaos because it ensures that their power remains unquestioned. Batman's constant fight against crime creates the illusion that Gotham's economy is under threat, while in reality, the elites can use Batman's efforts as a justification for further consolidating their wealth and influence. Batman as a tool for political manipulation. Batman's presence also plays a significant role in the political landscape of Gotham. Gotham's political system, rife with corruption, requires a figure like Batman to keep the public from questioning the true nature of the city's power structures. Batman, as a force that operates outside the political system, can be used by the elites to distract from the systemic issues within Gotham's government. Through his relationship with figures like Commissioner Gordon and other political leaders, Batman can be seen as a stabilizing force that operates in tandem with Gotham's political system. While the public sees Batman as a hero working outside the law, the elites use his existence to maintain the illusion of order and justice. The political system, despite its corruption, is able to point to Batman as proof that the city is fighting back against crime, even as the political establishment continues to profit from the status quo. Furthermore, the use of Batman as a political tool allows Gotham's elites to avoid the difficult work of systemic reform. Rather than confront the underlying corruption that runs through the police force, the judicial system, and the political class, Batman's vigilante actions serve as a convenient alternative. He provides the public with a tangible solution to crime, while the real power dynamics within Gotham remain intact. Batman's actions, then, not only serve the elites by reinforcing their control over the city, but also serve as a way to avoid any meaningful political or social change that might threaten their position. The perpetual need for Batman, ensuring the status quo. Ultimately, Gotham's elites have created a system where Batman's existence is necessary for maintaining the status quo. Batman's fight against crime, while seemingly driven by a desire for justice, is in reality a tool for preserving the power structures that govern Gotham. As long as Batman continues to engage in his crusade, Gotham's elites can continue their operations without the risk of exposure. The public, reassured by Batman's actions, believes that the city is moving toward justice even as the real sources of corruption and inequality remain untouched. The elites benefit from Batman's perpetual presence because it ensures that Gotham's most pressing problems are framed as external threats. Rather than focusing on the systemic corruption within the city's political and economic structures, the public's attention is focused on Batman's ongoing battle against crime. Gotham's elites understand that as long as Batman is seen as the city's protector, they can continue to operate unchecked, using the narrative of crime fighting to deflect attention from the real sources of power. Batman, as a symbol of justice, serves a dual purpose. On the surface, he is the city's hero, fighting for the people. But beneath that surface, he is also a tool used by Gotham's elites to maintain their control. His role in the city serves to reinforce the status quo, ensuring that Gotham's power structures remain intact, while the public remains focused on the illusion of justice. In conclusion, the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite reveals a deeper, more complex layer to Gotham's struggle for justice and power. Rather than being a spontaneous act of heroism driven solely by Bruce Wayne's personal tragedy, Batman's rise to prominence can be understood as part of a larger strategy to maintain the status quo, preserve the power of Gotham's elite, and manage the city's narrative of justice. Through the manipulation of Batman's public image, his role in crime fighting, and his relationships with key political and corporate figures, Gotham's elites have ensured that Batman's actions serve their broader agenda. Batman's moral code, which positions him as a hero fighting for justice, becomes a tool that diverts public attention away from the systemic corruption, inequality, and corporate malfeasance that pervade Gotham's institutions. While Batman battles criminals and supervillains, the true power structures, those that allow crime and corruption to thrive, remain unchallenged. His presence, though beneficial to Gotham's citizens, ultimately benefits the elite by reinforcing the illusion of justice while allowing them to maintain control over the city's resources, politics, and economy. The elites use Batman as a figurehead of hope, distracting the public from the deeper issues of power, corruption, and inequality that keep them in control. Batman's continuous battle against crime ensures that the status quo remains intact, with Gotham's citizens focused on a heroic struggle against visible threats, while the real threats, the systemic forces that sustain Gotham's elites, remain hidden. Batman's role in Gotham is both a symbol of justice and a tool of control. His emergence was not an accident, but a carefully crafted move to manipulate the city's power dynamics. Gotham's elite have created a cycle in which Batman is perpetually engaged in a fight against crime, while the true sources of corruption and inequality remain unaddressed. This manipulation ensures that Gotham's power structures remain unchallenged, and the elites continue to wield control over the city's fate. Batman's legacy in Gotham is a complex one. While he is the city's protector, his role is also one of containment, a figure who, despite his noble intentions, serves the interests of those who need to maintain the illusion of justice and order. Gotham's true battle is not one against crime, but one against the systems of power that perpetuate corruption. Batman's first appearance may have been the start of a larger strategy to keep Gotham under control, and unless the city's elite power structures are confronted, Batman's fight will always remain incomplete. Ultimately, the theory that Batman's first appearance was orchestrated by Gotham's elite challenges our traditional understanding of the Dark Knight as a self-made hero motivated solely by personal tragedy and justice. Instead, it proposes that Batman's rise was not a spontaneous act of individual heroism, but rather a carefully constructed plan by Gotham's power brokers to maintain control over the city. Gotham's elite, through their manipulation of Batman's public image, selective justice, and control of the city's narrative, ensured that their interests remained unchallenged, even as Batman was celebrated as a protector of the people. Batman's role in Gotham, while seemingly focused on fighting crime and injustice, is ultimately shaped by the broader power structures that govern the city. His fight against visible crime, whether it's street-level thugs, gangsters, or supervillains, becomes a distraction, keeping the public engaged in a superficial battle for justice, while the systemic issues that allow the elites to hold on to their power go unaddressed. In this way, Batman serves as both a symbol of hope and a tool of control, helping to perpetuate the existing power structures while maintaining the illusion of a city on the path toward justice. The elites use Batman's moral code and selective focus on criminals to ensure that Gotham's true sources of corruption, corporate greed, political manipulation, and systemic inequality, remain untouched. Gotham's power brokers continue to profit from their control over the city's resources, economy, and political landscape, while Batman remains the face of justice, fighting crime without ever challenging the institutions that allow it to thrive. In this sense, Batman's crusade, while noble, becomes part of the system he aims to destroy. The cycle of crime fighting that Batman perpetuates, combined with the rise of new villains to challenge him, ensures that his role remains central to Gotham's social order. Gotham's elites, by manipulating Batman's image and actions, keep the focus on external threats, preventing any real challenge to the deeper, more insidious forces that shape the city's destiny. As long as Batman remains engaged in his never-ending battle against crime, the elites can continue to wield power behind the scenes, knowing that the public's attention will always be focused on the visible struggle for justice rather than the underlying forces of control. In conclusion, Batman's first appearance in Gotham may not have been an accident or the result of personal vengeance, but rather a calculated move by Gotham's elite to solidify their control over the city. By creating and manipulating the figure of Batman, the elites ensured that their grip on Gotham's power structures remained unchallenged, while simultaneously providing the public with a symbol of justice and hope. Batman's legacy, while noble in its intentions, ultimately serves as a tool of the powerful, maintaining the status quo and ensuring that Gotham's true battle, one for systemic reform, remains a distant dream.